Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video from our local storage, we successfully get all the data and visible it in our page, right? Now in this video, I want to discuss about there is another edit portion. Okay, so here first of all we have to get this edit class. That will be the same procedure that I have done before. If you go to our index.html, and for the edit, you can see for the edit they have one of the class name as a task of edit. First of all, I want to get it with using that event listener, right? If you go to now in our index, into this index, I have already you can see I have already get that add event listener. That will be as a click one of the type, and also before I includes with this all that our class name. That means it will be checked this class name is included in here or not, right? So now let's do that work. For doing this, I want to add another if condition that will be just like that same here with this event, and then the target, right? With this event target, I want to check our class name. Is there have any class name included in here as a this name or not? Okay, so now I want to add this class name. So if there have any class name included in our here, then I want to call another prototype that will be just like that same in our UI. Into this UI area, I want to create another prototype as a edit. Okay, I name it as edit task. So that will be as a edit task. And into this edit task area here, same I want to pass our event object data. So I simply pass it. Great. Now I want to create this prototype as edit text prototype in our UI. If you now go to our UI, into this UI area, now I want to do after this I want to create another prototype. Okay, that will be as a UI, and into this UI area that will be as a prototype, and our prototype name that will be as a edit task, right? And then I want to call one of the function. Okay, I want to call this function. So that is our function, and into this function area I want to pass that our event as a E. Now what exactly the things I want to do? Like if you go to our project, and into this project area here, when you click as a edit, that is one of the title, right? This title I want to visible in here. So if you want to get that a specific one title, that means if you click it in here, this title will be loaded. If you click it in here, then that is another title, this title will be loaded, right? So how can actually get this data? You can get it by the ID, because ID is the totally different. So for the reasons here we have to store this data. So I want to create another hidden one of the input field, and into this hidden input field area I want to load this ID, and then our title, we specific this ID title I want to display in here. I hope friend you get this concept, what exactly the things I want to do in particular that position. So for doing this, I want to go to our that is index.html. Into this index.html there have one of the input field. You can see that is our input field, right? So in particular that position I want to create one of the another input field. Okay, I name it as a input, so that will be as a input. Okay, and this input field here I want to do first of all I want to make one of the type. Our type will be as a hidden, because that should be not display. Okay, for the reasons I make it as a hidden. And also I want to put one of the name as a update task. Okay, I name it as a update task. So I put one of the name for this input field as update task, and also I want to pass one of the ID, because here also we need that ID. I name that as a update task ID. Okay, I name it as a update task ID. Great. So that is one of the input field. I pass the type will be as a hidden type, name will be as a update task, and also I pass one of the ID as a update task ID. Now if you want to check it, click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, I refresh it, and now you see our this input field is not visible. But if you make it as a with the inspect, and into this inspect area if you select it, okay, that is one of the div, and you can see there is another input field as a hidden, right? So that is our hidden field. Perfect, but that is not display because of all I make this type as a hidden. And now we have to get that ID. So if you select this part, that means this task, every task, like that is one of the tasks, just simply understand where exactly that position, like that is our first div as a task, right? And also there is another one is a checkbox, and then that is our level. So into this level, that is our title, right? So this title we have to get it, and then we have to visible it in here. right friend? So first of all, we have to get the same things before I have already done. Like that is one of the, for this level, that is one of the parent class. You can see there is one of the parent class, and also there is our another parent class. So with this, we will first of all I want to get it, and then I want to access our this data create date, that is our ID, right here, that is our ID. So now if you want to access it for the first time, what exactly you have to do in our UI. Okay, into this UI area, you can see I have already done the same things before. With this, we will get that our parent element, that is a 2 parent element. I simply get that 2 parent element, take the things with this variable, and now I want to get this ID. You can see I have already did the same things. Now I want to get this ID because that is onto the same location. Okay, so now with this tags and then the data set, and that is our create date. Okay, you can see that is our create date. So now with this, that will be our ID. I get this ID, I take the things with this variable. And now I want to do, that is our ID. Okay, this ID now I want to match with our local storage ID. Okay, that is all into a local storage. That is also one of the ID for a specific this task, right? Now I want to get this our local storage ID. So if you want to get it, like I take one of the constant variable, I just name it as a data. Okay, and into this data, then that is a local storage. So into this local storage, I want to declare another prototype as a find task. Okay, I name it as a find task, and into this find task area here I pass that our ID. Okay, I have already get this ID, that means there is also one of the ID for this task, that is one of the ID. Now that the ID, I take it and now I simply pass it in our this prototype area in our local storage. So now I want to create this prototype as a find text prototype in our local storage. Now go to our local storage, into this local storage. I have already done the same things. You can see that will be actually just like that same better after this. After this, I name it as a local storage. Okay, that will be a local storage, and then that will be prototype or prototype name as a find task, and then that will be as a function. And into this function area, I want to pass our this ID that I have already passed into the parameter. So now that is our ID. Great. So here what exactly you have to do, first of all, if you want to get our local storage ID, because that is one of the ID, and also in the local storage actually they have on the ID. So if you want to get this ID, first of all we have to get all the data. That means we have to fetch all the data from our which place, from our local storage, right? You can see into the local storage already they have all the data. So if you want to fetch this, that will be just like that same. Okay, and also you can see there is the same condition. It will with this, it will be check it, right? But I copy both of this and here I paste it. I hope you already know about it. So with this fetch tags method prototype I have already created. So now with this we'll get that all that our local storage data, and then I want to put one of the conditions. So here better I want to return it from to this position. So if you want to return, that will be the return. Okay, I make it as a return, and return takes our find method. So I make it as a find. Okay, only find, and then that is our task, and then there's array function, and with this task that means that is our local storage data, right? Local storage data ID, that means what? In our local storage that have also one of the ID, right? You can see that is one of the ID, like as a zero index ID. So this zero index ID will be matched with our here, that is also one of the ID, right? Which ID I have already get it in our UI. So from the UI I have already get that ID. Remember, when that will be match, okay, that is our local storage ID, when that will be equal match with our parameter, because in here I have already passed that things into this parameter area, right? Now when that will be as a match, then I will simply return it. Okay, from to this position I simply return this result. Now I want to do in our UI, so into this UI area here, now I want to visible it. Okay, that means if you go to our index.html, for our this input field here I want to display this title, right? For the reasons here we need this ID. So that is our new tax ID. First of all I want to get this data with the query selector, like here. After this, okay, here I want to add the documents. I hope friend now step by step everything is become very clear. Now that is our query selector. Into this query selector, first of all I want to get this ID. If you want to get this ID, that will be a hash, right? And then our ID, I want to get that ID value. Okay, so that is our ID value, and this value will be our which things I have already get all the things in our data, because I have already declared it, right? It will be match, and from here I return this task. Now that is everything in our data. Now into this data area, with this data I want to access our our property name as a title. I simply loaded this title. And also I want to get our another one, our updated task ID. So I simply paste it. If you go to our index.html and into this index.html, for the updated, there is also another input field I have added. You can see that is our input field ID as a updated task ID. So I copy it, and now I want to add this updated task ID in here. Great. Now that will be what? That will be our ID. So I simply add that our data ID. I hope it's very clear. So in our hidden field, hidden input field area, it should be loaded that ID, which ID you actually selected. Okay, and then our title will be visible in our new task. So I simply loaded that our title. That means right now if you click as a save all, and now if you go, now click as a refresh, now our this, when you click as edit, that is the title will be loaded in here. Now click as edit. Yes, you can see it's now loaded. And you click this one is loaded, and also click this one is loaded. And into this position, there is one of the another hidden field, and into this hidden field area here, that will be loaded our ID. So now I want to do when this data will be ready for the edit, and there is one of the button as a add tags. If you go to our UI, that means in our index.html, there have also another two of this button. Like here, after that you can see that is the button is display, and also there is another button as a edit task, another one as a cancel. But right now I make that two of these as a display none, for the reasons two of this button is not display. So I want to do when that will be as a edit, these two of these buttons should be display. So if you want to do that work, is very easy. Now go to our UI, and into this UI I want to get both of these data. Better I copy it, and after that I paste it. Okay, so into this area, first of all I want to get our first ID. So that is one of the ID as a add task button. So now I want to make it as a add task button. Okay, so that is one of the ID. So that is one of the class, right? So that is one of the class. For the reasons here we have to make it as a dot. That is our class name. And into this class name I want to add on the inline CSS. So here that means when it should be perfectly get this data, that means then this prototype will be executed. I want to use that as a style. So that will be the style. I want to use that style as a display. Okay, display. I want to make this display as a none. Okay, then that will be as a none class. I hope it's very clear. And rest of these two of this our property, that means two of this class will be as a inline. Okay, then that means when there have any data, this one will be as a display none, and both of these will be as a inline. So I want to do that is our another class as a edit button task. So this edit button task, that will be as a style display will be as an inline. Okay, that will be as inline, and also this one will be as an inline, and here there is another class name as a cancel task button. Okay, I copy it, then that will be our another class cancel task button. So this button will be style display will be as a inline. Great. So friend, now that should be work. Now click as a save all, and now if you go, now refresh it, now click as a edit. Yes, you can see it's now perfectly updated. Right now what exactly happening, I hope you understand it, because right now they have one of the data, right? There is this already called our this prototype as edit task. When that will be executed, our add task will be as a none, and rest of this class as a edit task button, and then cancel task button style display will be inline. For the reasons you can see it's now display both of these. Okay, edit task and then the cancel, click it in here, it's also successfully visible. So now we have to edit, that means we have to update this data, and also from here if you cancel it, then that will be gone. So how can do that work? Better to continue this process. In our next video I will show you that things with the live example. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.